Over the last 12 months, I've seen a reduction in the cost of labour in my housekeeping and maintenance teams. I believe that can be directly attributed to the efficiencies in Elite and the recording of customer service requests from customers. So, for example, the maintenance team has 5 members of staff. As a customer reports the issue in their unit, that could go to different members of staff and we would never be able to see a pattern forming. So taking that further, if you had a boiler pressure problem and it gets reported to one member of staff and then another, we don't realise we've got a boiler pressure problem. But what the maintenance manager can do is look at that particular unit and see the issues over time and then fix the actual problem rather than us just tinkering with the system.
Very good morning to you all, and thank you for joining us today as we explore not only one module but 2, our housekeeping and maintenance modules available for EliteParks and EliteMarinas, and we're going to look at how we can use those to leverage and unify your teams and your operations. Some great testimony there from Stephen at Ladies Mile showing a reduction in labour costs directly attributed to these 2 modules, which is fantastic stuff. So we're going to try and show you how you can also achieve some ROI on that as well. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Dynamics 365 application consultant to the stars. Becky Roberts joins us today, our subject matter expert. How are we doing, Becky?
Good morning, Callum. Very good, thank you. You?
I'm wonderful. Joining us from a very sunny Scotland today. It's great to have you with us today. Also in the background, keeping everything running nice and smoothly for us, as always, is our creative marketing executive, Edwin Wildborough, making sure that me and you, Becky, can just have a nice chat. It's been a while. Just before we get into the nitty-gritty of our webcast today, we do have some housekeeping, joke aside, to take care of today. We've got the Q&A functionality at the top of your Teams call. So if you do want to submit any questions that you might have for us, please feel free to drop your questions in there. And at the end of the demonstration from Becky today, if you want to join us on the webcast and ask us any questions directly, you can just pop your hand up and we will invite you on to join us. But please remember that by participating in the live Q&A with your mic and a camera, you are being consented to being recorded. We always ask that you keep it PG, and we'll take your questions then as well. So just to give you a little rundown of what to expect from us today, we're going to be discussing how these modules can benefit your teams and your business. Becky's going to be demonstrating the capabilities of the module, and there is a lot to get packed in there today. I'm really sorry, Becky got a massive list of bits of functionality that are in there, but really, really important things that can help you in your day. And then we'll finish off with that all-important Q&A. We should be here, I think, maybe until about 11:15, if not a little bit earlier than that. We'll try to get on time at 11:30, but just maybe we might run over because, as I said, a lot of stuff in there. So Becky, come and join us. Let's just focus up here for a little minute. So you have led big operational changes in your career for massive holiday park operators in your career, some of the biggest in the business and the most well-known. I think you've been part of that. What would you say are the biggest challenges for our maintenance and housekeeping teams? And do you think that from when you were actively involved in that to now, do you see any sort of change in that pressure, if it's increased even more in the coming years?
Yeah, absolutely. So to go to what you say, Callum, I implemented like policies and procedures, and it was for both maintenance housekeeping teams together to bring them together to basically to get the best out of them and get them to work together and like focusing on obviously the bigger picture of focusing on the customer and them as well. Because often, unfortunately, the maintenance, the housekeeping teams, the siting teams, the grounds teams, they're the ones that are often definitely seen, but potentially not heard. So yes. Kind of, in that role that I had, I was kind of the voice for them. So those of you who know me, I have a big one.
Person to do it.
I was waiting for you to say that. So, yeah. So, I mean, and particularly thinking from a systems point of view, things are getting reported manually, and kind of going to what Stephen's just said in the video there, just there from Ladies Mile. Having a disconnected system and different people reporting things in different ways, it can create delays. It can impact obviously the team, because then there's pressure on them to get stuff done and get things fixed quickly for the customer, and obviously impacts the customer's first impression as well. So, and as you say, expectations nowadays have arisen. The impact on the housekeeping teams particularly, expectations are so high from our customers nowadays. So yeah, unfortunately the knock-on effect can turn into complaints and other departments, unfortunately, because these teams are the ones who form that first impression.
Exactly that. And I think if using a sort of unified solution, hopefully, and I think from what Stephen was sort of alluding to, was that rather than maintenance teams being reactive all the time, is getting them to be proactive, so that actually you're getting the issue sorted at the core. It's bringing down your costs, therefore your labor costs, parts costs, everything, rather than having to fix. I'm not a maintenance man, as you would tell. Fixing a screw on a boiler, you don't need to fix the whole boiler, because you've picked up as the pattern starts to emerge. So just to pick up a little bit further on that Becky, why should making these teams operationally efficient be a critical focus for operators?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we're alluding to is exactly that. It's the impact of that first impression and the impact that it can then have on that customer's holiday. So things like, if a wet car, delaying a customer's check-in, whilst a check-in might be, 4 o'clock or what have you for that customer, if they're arriving early and we've got accommodation ready and it's good to go, and we've used the system to tell us that, and everybody's working together for that one common goal, then it's not going to delay their check-in. But if it, as an opposite, small issues can quickly become big issues. It can delay their check-in, whether it's something like a wet carpet or the boiler's broken, and then it's the pressure on the team. Exactly what Stephen said earlier around, we do a tweak or a quick fix just to get the customer in because we want them in, rather than sorting out the real issue. And it's definitely this brings the teams working efficiently more together. And I'm saying teams, it should be one team. It's whilst maintenance and housekeeping, they do working together as the one team for the one common goal for the the customer, and getting them into that nice, clean and well-maintained accommodation on time.
Absolutely.
Or early, sometimes early if we can.
Isn't that the dream? So
no queues.
No queues. So really, it's the customer service. Your customer service could be amazing on park, could be phenomenal, or I say park, site, marina, whatever you partake. But dirty, damaged accommodation, you're at a loss. You're at a back foot straight from it. So we need to get these teams, as you said, working as one, to bring those costs down, so you're not having to do refunds because something's been forgotten. And you'll show that in your demo, how those checklists sort of should alleviate that pressure. So we're just going to lean into your past experience just a little bit more there, Becky, and how can getting your processes right, because you were talking about, obviously you implemented these processes and changes for these teams. How can those processes contribute to the teams working closer together?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. I mean, certainly from my past experience and what we implemented at the time, it was kind of looking at best practice, everybody operating the same, kind of bringing the best practice together, and learning from it, so that the team are aligned and straightforward and for one and compliant, because everybody doing everything different. By having the system in place, it means that we're all working towards that same goal, we're all aligned, and I found it obviously onboarding new customers as well, that particularly when we're introducing the housekeeping module, rather than have different ways of doing it at different parks, it brings it together so that a customer goes to one park and to the other, they're going to get the same experience and the same standards then, because otherwise we'll have seen it before. It just gets messy if we're not logging and putting everything through the one system. You've got that one version of the truth, that one place, because the minute it's reported, it can then be actioned. If people don't know, or it's stuck on or somebody's not radioed something, or somebody's not messaged something, or it's stuck on a post-it note somewhere,
and I guess then from the management team's point of view, they're getting that full picture, because they're saying, oh, that issue's reoccurring now. That's coming back. That's coming back. That, I don't know why boilers, we always go back to boilers. We might need to look at improving them from another side. But those boilers that we know that break, well, we've seen that pattern. We know what's building up to it. And if that could then become, now we're going massive picture now. So you start seeing that in one accommodation, then it starts happening the second. They're the same making model. So actually, this isn't an issue. That issue now needs past manufacturer side to sort of pass that on. So the guest experience, we know it's much more than that friendly face. So how are housekeeping and maintenance teams able to contribute to that overall success? You spoke a little bit about it. If you could just give us a little bit more of an overview on how you see them contributing as their biggest champion, Becky.
Yeah, no, I mean, that thinking of using housekeeping module as a standard, you'll see in the upcoming demo, it's based on checklists, but it's just thinking anything that is so whilst primarily it's for housekeeping as in cleans and arrival checks, it's just remembering that anything checklists, so from a maintenance team point of view, any kind of preventative checks that they can do. We all know what, common maintenance issues are either reported or what really impacts our guests, the boiler, particularly at this time of year, the boiler working, the central heating working, absolutely. The kettle's all good because they want to get in and have a warm cup of tea. So anything like that checklisty, that you can, that's a new term, that checklisty, you can use that housekeeping module to use across all your teams, not just from a cleaning. So it's getting out and finding out and making sure everything's great before the customer even gets to report it, and then they don't report it.
Because I know there is some of our current customers actually use the housekeeping checklists for their hot tubs. So they'll record the pH levels that we're taking and all that. So they'll add that comment. So they've got a record of that. So if anyone's coming in and they're going, well, the hot tub's now rotten and blah, blah, blah. Well, then you've got a record of when the chlorine changed, which is very, very handy to sort of contribute to that.
I did because it's then a good example as well was around vehicle checks. So and things as well, not just for cleaning accommodation units, your building. So things like shower blocks from touring, or if you do all your cleaning in house, anything that is checklist that you don't want to be double keying. So anything that's not in another system, and you can use it in here. Perfect. You've got that record then as well. You don't lose it. It's done and it's in, and works with Elite apps as well.
Yes, if you did miss our webcast last week on Elite apps, you can replay that one as well. And I think there's something actually quite interesting that I experienced as a customer. I'd booked a holiday for my boss. He was going to a different holiday park to visit them, and it was all booked in my name. Didn't think of it. I got a phone call from the park the day after he checked in. I actually thought he was in trouble, and that's why I was getting a phone call. And they were just phoning to find out how my accommodation was, if there was anything that was missing, how we could do it. And I was so simple, but I was so taken aback by it. I actually implemented it within my team. So they were making those calls day after check-in. I mean, it took a while, but it was great for them just to phone in and be like, hiya, how's everything? And what they were doing then, they were actively getting reports. So people were going, yeah, everything's fantastic. Oh, actually, but now that's the but that they might not have actually shared when they were checking out, or at all. Something that's slightly damaged, but the next person checking in might have. So, I mean, there's ways they can do that. And actually, I'm just thinking out loud here. That that could be a workflow, that could be part of your CRM automation flows. Once it's checked in, it waits 24 hours and it then sends them an email or assigns you a task to call them. But that's the way we did it. We did it as a phone call because we also tried to sell them the next holiday at the same time if everything was great.
And booking activity as well.
Always making money. Fantastic. Right, Becky, we have been chatting for so long. We should probably have a look at your demo now. So in the demo, just to give a quick highlight, we're looking at the housekeeping module, we're going to be looking at the maintenance module, and then we're going to get a quick run through of safety test, meter reads, and Becky's absolute favorite feature, the drain down functionality. So we're getting a whole package in there this morning. So I'll tell you what, let's just take a little look at how that is for us just now.
Hello and welcome to an Elite Dynamics webcast. Today is all about the all-important modules within EliteParks that the operational teams can use out there for housekeeping activities and maintenance jobs. I'm going to give you an overview of both of these modules and how they can work together, whether you use Elite apps with them as well, to show you that. So let's start off with housekeeping activities. So you can have some setup in the background. So think of these as your cleans, your checks. These could be the ones that you do on arrivals days, departure days, deep cleans in the winter, whatever you want to do to set up as a check. So think of it, any of your checklists. Once you've got those, so you can create those within the system, and then what you do, so you've got to set those up under task templates. You then set up your different housekeeping activity types and assign the template that you've created. You can then raise these either manually, so ad hoc ones. So if I wanted to do an ad hoc deep clean, I could raise this type deep clean. But what you can also do by completing the boxes here as appropriate is have these auto create. So say for example this arrival check, this is going to auto create based on setup. Anytime a holiday booking is confirmed, it'll create the arrival check in the background for the arrival date for the booking. It's going to create the departure check for the day that the booking departures. But having this toggle on here for required for booking check-in, what that can do if you use that function is ensure that your team members on reception from their arrival screen only ever check a booking for a guest to a unit that has been confirmed through the housekeeping activity that the task is completed. Should it not have been, then the check-in ready is not ticked and the reception team member is then unable to check that customer in. So once you've got that setup done, so you've got your task templates, you can also assign linen as well, so you can build up a linen checklist as well for your team who are using these master activities. So what you would then do is, I've created one here for example, so this could be one, this is that arrival check. It's created, you can, when you're planning your team's days, so you can plan for the cleaners and put in obviously the exact time that they want them to do that. That would then sync through as well to Elite apps in the order that you want it completed if you're an Elite app user. So all the details in here of the when it's to be done, where it's to be done, key details about the unit, and then that'll come down to your checklist here. So all the user would do, whether they've doing it on through the desktop or doing it through Elite apps, is tick anything that's in red italics is something that they need to do. Once they've done it, they can tick through shower screen, so checked sticker in place, so they can add also any comments that will stay with the checklist. Once they've completed it, you can then complete it as well through here. But if you needed to report a job, so say for example the cleaner has checked that this boiler is they've done the job, they've checked it, but what they've found is that the boiler is not lighting up. So it's not igniting. Should it be relevant to the job, you can see whether through Elite apps or desktop, they can then add a picture to the Let's put a boiler on here, for example. They can add a picture, so that's going to stay. You can see it's uploaded here and see the actual relevant picture of the boiler here. So that what you could add per line to a picture. Then what you could also do in the scenario, so if that was just a comment or a picture to record against the housekeeping activity card relevant to the cleaning of the unit, but should that also be a job that you wanted to now log, from the ribbon here or from Elite Apps, you can then just click on create maintenance job. That will then, it gives you the option if you're coming from a desktop to open it, come and create. So it's going to create straight away, populating all the details for you from where it's for. It's put in here the description because it's coming from the housekeeping task. It's going to give you the information that it's linked with that housekeeping activity number. So again, teams working together, there's not these phone calls or emails to find out where it's come from, what it's linked with. The user would be able to go back and it's got that history to know who's logged that job. They can see the comments that's come through from the housekeeping activities, and then also they'll get that picture through as well because that's come from the housekeeping activity. So that's whether it's come from the desktop or from Elite Apps as well. All they then do is come into here and administer it as normal for somebody to go out and complete the job. So that's from the maintenance job there. When we navigate back, as we can see, no matter what, even when this job's completed, so that housekeeping activity is completed now, it's a completed status, but we're always going to have that quick link back to come into here and you link back to the relevant job to update it or check and see if it's done, whatever it may be. Just as a reminder of the linen that I mentioned earlier as well. So you can set master linen items, that different types of linen or towels, whatever you might give to a customer in a pack or however you give it to the customer. You can make up master linen items, then create templates, and then you can assign these to appear at park level, activity park management setup. You can do it in housekeeping management setup. You can do it at unit level, grade level, whatever's applicable, so that when that comes through for the user, they'll have a list of the associated linen items that would go with this unit. It also, you get an option, should you not have Elite App users or if you have contractors, you are able to print a housekeeping activity sheet as a printable activity sheet to give to your customers, contractors or cleaners, however your business process works. So that's your housekeeping activities there. So that's all your different checklists. Looking at maintenance jobs now, what you would then do is in here, so you've got all your maintenance jobs. There's that one I've just logged there from the housekeeping activity. If you're logging any new maintenance jobs, that's all great through there as well. What you can also do in here is, should an owner report maintenance jobs and it's a chargeable job, what you can do is set up an invoice, create quotes, all direct from a maintenance job as well. So say for example, this owner here, you can navigate to his maintenance jobs. It's going to give you anything that's outstanding, whatever status. So anything that has been logged against this owner, it's filtering to that owner's because you come from his card. So whether it's completed, cancelled, in progress. So you can update the owner from here or log any new jobs as well. So let's just put, we're having a boiler theme today. Quick boiler check. Nick is the one who reported, is the owner. You're going to log the type of job that you can set up. Again, you set these up in the background. It's high priority. We want it doing today because it's really important. It's freezing out there and Nick is cold. He's also got young child in caravan, boiler not working. If this was a job that Nick was reporting and he needed to give you a picture, you can upload a picture against the line as well. So it works exactly the same way as that housekeeping activity we've just seen. You'd then assign it out for your team member to go and complete the job, or whether that is through a job sheet or through an Elite App user. As they complete the job, we can update the comments and track the progress of the job through here. And then down on the invoice lines, you can either set up templates against the maintenance job types, so the relevant GL accounts that you post to come through. You've also got as well a function in here called maintenance job line type codes. This also works with Elite apps as well, which is really handy. So from a job, you can either from the desktop, it saves a lot of admin having these set up in the background as well, so you can set up as many of these as you want. So say for example you wanted to raise a quote for this customer for what needs doing, you could to be fitted, so you could use these, or whether that's come from the desktop or from the Elite app user, or you can set up templates so that we know that when something is posted in here it's going to the correct line. So what you can do now, and let's just delete that one because we'll use the maintenance job lines. So this could have come from Elite app user, like I say, or you can do it direct from the desktop. So we're going to do a quick quote. It's 1 hour and we recharge £36. It's the part to be fitted. So you could overtype this if you wanted to with the description, depending on your business process. You could also obviously put a part number in there as well if it's something that you're going to have to raise a PO, because you've got a function to do for anything that's going to a GL. You can raise a purchase order direct from this line as well. Nice handy little function. But for the purposes of just to show you, so say for example the part that we need to fit the customer that he needs to get his boiler working, it costs us £7.50, we recharge it at £17.50. Again, you can have these set up line by line so that these automatically populate for you if you like. What this will now do is allow us to do a quick quote for the customer should you want to print or email to give that customer. But then when we go and complete the job, so job's been ordered, it'll go through its normal process of ordering parts, getting it out from your stock, whatever your business process is. But when that's completed, because this is chargeable to a customer, what that'll automatically do is go to that requires invoicing status, so that then down here we can just update the invoice lines to be correct, make sure all the prices are correct and quantities, add anything new, update these descriptions so it comes through to the invoice, and then you can invoice direct from the job. Or if you have if you do them en masse, you can build yourself a filter of any job that requires invoicing, check through each of them individually, and then run the meter and do the maintenance job invoicing routine. While we're in owners, let's just show you a quick reminder as well about the drain down module that we can your maintenance teams can use. So from an owner card, you've got this drain up, drain down point of sale option. So a wee bit of setup in the background. So you need to set up your job types, your POS items. There's also a calendar that you can use to set up so that you can like an availability calendar, so you don't overbook your team. So if you can only manage to do, your team can only manage to do 10 drain downs in one day, for example, you can set that against a calendar. Same for the drain downs, drain up. So it's really handy to make sure that you don't overbook any of these on particular days. So booking it for this owner, for example, we can pop the date in here. Or if we're using the calendar, you can see the calendar's being populated here. So you can see that we can do 10 of these drain downs a day, and we can see what's available, because as they're booking, this is knocking down obviously the availability. So let's choose we've still got availability tomorrow, so let's book tomorrow for this customer. And then they want it's just a short turnaround, they want to drain up. You can obviously populate these yourself, but they want to drain back up on the 12th of February here. If in the scenario where the customer doesn't know the drain update, you can still proceed just by, without populating the drain update in there, ticking this deferral, and then what that then allows you to do is at a later date when the customer's chosen their date, you can come back and book that just from a different screen as a quick function to go and book that. So you're choosing the POS item that you might have seen there that you've set up in the background. So you can set up as many as you want. It's just a wee bit of setup just to say that that's once you've created your point of sale item, just flagging that it's related to a drain down. Then when I've taken the payment from the customer, it's going to give me the option to print a receipt, of course, but then you also get, because it's coming from a drain down, you get the option to print a confirmation showing the customer the drain down and drain updates that that customer's chosen. And then in the background, what's also happened automatically is it's created these two jobs for you. So it's created the drain up and drain down job for you. So then you could just go into these, put in any further information, any comments, timings, the exact date they need doing or anything like that, and they're good to go. So just one more reference back to housekeeping activities as well. So kind of an overall view, looking at your overall views of both housekeeping activities, and then we'll do the same, exactly the same for maintenance as well. The housekeeping matrix is really handy, because this gives you a view of how your day, week could be looking. As you can see, you can search on days, you can put in date ranges so that you can see in future. And what's happening is you'll see all your housekeeping activities are created will come through. You can hover over them to see the detail behind, and you've got different colours depending on the status. This is really handy to plan, so you can see how many you've got coming up. You can also do this as well. So say for example, this was a departure check type and the customer checked out early, and you've got availability, you've got team to actually do it a day earlier. You can move it around as well using the matrix so that you can plan your days. So it's really handy to, when you're looking at the day view here, to see and plan and schedule. But what you can also do on your actual arrival and departure days is look at the hour view, and you'll be able to track as your day is progressing as well. So that's the housekeeping matrix, which is a handy overview there. From a maintenance job view, you've got the maintenance job analysis. So kind of to give you an overview to see where all your jobs are sitting at. This is really handy. You can filter, and as you can see, as I start populating these fields, it's giving you some information here. You can choose the different statuses. You can just look at high priority, for example, just at one park. You could even focus down to one person or one contractor if you've got your contractors set up as resources as well. So it's a fantastic tool to give you an overview of all your jobs on the parks and marinas to see exactly this view that we're seeing here. We want to see all the jobs that are in progress. So it's giving you as a breakdown that we've got 5 Park AF here, 5 drain downs in progress, 2 drain ups, and then should we want to see the detail behind these, when we just click into them, it's going to give filter to those jobs that are behind. So it's a really handy overview. One last thing to just look at here, because we're sitting here on a maintenance administrator's role centre, is just a reminder of your meter reading journals and your safety test journals. So if we click into a meter reading first, this is just a reminder of where you would log and post all your meter readings. You can either use the populate journal function, where based on whatever filters that you populate in here, it'll populate the journal with the meters that you filter to, or you can come in and do an individual one as well. So say for example, let's choose this one here. What it's going to do is bring through the previous meter reading value, the previous date it was read. You can then choose whether this is going to be an open, obviously not in this scenario, but it could be a closing reading or just your periodic reading. If it was an Elite app user, you would assign the resource here, and then the Elite app user could go and do the meter reads. When they enter the meter reading value, this will then update automatically this section back in here for you, ready for you to check and post, or you can do it from the desktop, whatever's easiest. As long as you've got your meter unit prices set up as well, it's going to give you an estimated amount for that completed deal. How much the invoice is going to be. You can upload a picture as well should you want to at this point from the desktop, or again the Elite app user can do that as well. And then you just, once you're happy with your meter read, just posting, and then that's going to post the meter ledger entry for you. And then if it's a reading that is ticked as invoice, it's got a completed deal attached to it. It's going to be available in your next meter invoicing routine to go and invoice the customer. Safety tests work very similarly using a safety test journal. You just have your types set up in the background and the date formula against them. What that then does, you can still got your populate journal function, or you could just populate lines individually. It's going to bring through, in this example, a gas safety test, your previous test date. You can then populate the test date it's been done, the certificate number, who issued it, if it's a contractor, for example. You can use this again with Elite apps, and if an Elite app user is doing it, you can add comments. Once you're happy, again, you can just post it, and that's going to create your safety test entries as well. It'll also give you, once you're using the safety tests set up in the system, based on your date formulas, you can also then run any safety tests that might be overdue. So there we go. That was an overview of housekeeping activities, linen templates that you can use in line with that, how housekeeping works with maintenance jobs and syncs together, and then just a quick reminder of invoicing jobs for an owner, how you look at an overview using your job analysis, and the fantastic module that's in there for drain downs, and just a reminder of how to use meters, journals, and safety test journals.
Thank you very much there, Becky, for walking us through all of that functionality there. I told you there was a lot in there today, a lot, but there's a lot of cool things in there to help your maintenance and housekeeping teams, siting teams, all working together. Now, I did promise last week that we would just take a very, very brief look at the new screens that are available for Elite Analytics, and I will just show you them in the briefest of possibilities here for you. So as you can see, we've got the maintenance job screen here that can all be filtered down, showing you that high level overview. So if you're an Elite Analytics user, or you're high up the food chain and you don't actually want to be logging in to look at this stuff, you just want to know the business, you can use that, and they're coming in as standard in that latest version. So you've got jobs there, we've got housekeeping again with those nice visuals, and you've got one there for safety tests. We've got 19 overdue, so it just gives you that little visual there as well. So I'll pack that for the minute because I don't have a Elite Analytics specialist with me today, but I promised I was going to show you that last week, so it is there and it is available as a standard dashboard is what I'm looking for. So that is there and available for you. So Becky, we're getting to that Q&A section now. So if anybody in the audience, I'm looking at a show, and anyone in the audience does have any questions that they would like to ask us, remember you can use that Q&A function, or you can pop your hand up to join us on the call. Just while those questions are filtering through, Becky, for anyone watching today, what would be the one piece of advice that you'd give about these modules and how they can future-proof operations and deliver that return on investment that Stephen was so kindly talked to us about earlier on?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, and the blog as well that we put out last week, it shows how much money they've saved on labour alone just by using these together, because it's allowed them to become more effective and more proactive and really see what's going on with the team on the parks as well. Because obviously, if you're doing a lot of, majority of your team are in-house who doing for maintenance and particularly housekeeping and accommodation cleans, then that's a huge labour cost. So by having them both those modules and working them together, it sets the standards so that you can keep those standards that you've set and keep reviewing them and implementing them over time. So yeah, they do.
I think that's really, really prevalent at the minute, is this maintenance and housekeeping teams are very expensive teams to have when they don't really bring you a natural return on investment. But they are critical to what's going on these sites. That no one could function without them. And I think with Stephen being able to go, look, no, actually, because we can see these patterns, we can bring down those costs, we can bring down our labour costs, what we're spending on maintenance and housekeeping. Because I think a lot of businesses are starting to look towards April, where that national minimum wage change is going to be coming in, which is really going to impact those workers. I think particularly on the housekeeping side, those especially actually when we think about it, that most of our parks sometimes struggle to get housekeeping stuff, so they're contracting that out. So something to bear in mind, that yes, we're going, look at these modules, aren't they great, but that ROI again that Stephen has been able to identify is really important when you're looking at implementing these. So what do you think sets these modules apart from other solutions on the market then? Because there are maintenance things that are available. I don't know about housekeeping. I know there certainly is for maintenance. What do you think? Why these ones?
Yeah, I think because it's the way that they work together, in that we saw in the demo there, and there definitely is a boiler theme, isn't there? I definitely need to.
We're obsessed. Put your hand up if you've ever been offended by a holiday park boiler.
It's always boilers. When I do training, it's always boilers, isn't it? But it's the most. It's the one thing that affects you. One of the things that affects you most. So yeah, I need to get a new theme. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, it is how they work well together, and I think. As you saw in the demo, you've got those quick links because we're reporting a maintenance job from a housekeeping task. For the end user, whether that be a maintenance administrator, whether that be accommodation team, or one of the team who are on the front desk who have to face the customer, they're not having to make phone calls or these WhatsApp messages or radios or what have you. It's professional from a customer's point of view that they're straight in, they can see from that screen, from the arrival screen, if they're using housekeeping, if it's good and ready to go because it's been ticked. If there's a housekeeping task outstanding that is relevant to the check-in for that holidaymaker, they can click straight into it. It takes them to the relevant activity. They're not having to search for it. Takes them straight through to any jobs if relevant. So it's from a team members' point of view who are checking the guest in, they're straight through, they're not having to be here, there and everywhere, and from an impression that gives the customer, then it just looks so much more efficient as well.
I guess it allows them to sort of manage that expectation that we're talking about earlier on about early check-in. So someone rocks up at 2:00, check-in's not until they'll go, let me just see how far along we are. They can go, right, maintenance have been in, hot tubs have been in, housekeeping nearly there, so give us an extra half an hour.
Yeah,
and they don't need to make that awkward phone call. Have you cleaned? We finished.
Yeah, they'll be able to see that the housekeeping activity, particularly if it's Elite app user, it's live coming back. They're halfway through it. They've got one check left to do. So yeah.
Perfect. We've got a couple of questions here for you, Becky. So best behaviour. Here we go. So the safety test and meter journal. So the entries. So can they be posted from the app, from Elite apps, or is it desktop only?
Yep. So how that works with Elite apps is you create your journal exactly as I did in the demo, and how you would do it if you were doing it from the desktop as well. But what syncs the journal, so whether it's the safety test, whether it's site tasks as well, or whether it's the meter reading, is that resource number. So if your resource is an Elite app user, that syncs it to go straight to that Elite app user. They would then enter the meter reads, take the pictures. It syncs back that detail to the journal, so you're not manually entering it in. So imagine you're reading your whole park, you're not having to manually enter that straight through, and then you post it from the desktop. So the short answer is you post from the desktop, but you're not having to enter all the data.
Yeah, and I think obviously we in your demo we're just looking at just one as an example, but you can raise them in bulk against someone. So if you've got someone that's just going out to wander about for the day, you can just raise that all to them. They'll come into work. It'll be on their Elite apps, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No more soggy pieces of paper and misread numbers, and you can upload a photo as well, so you can photo of the meter, which is huge when you've got owner queries. So I
didn't use that much electricity. The picture says you did. And just the final question there for you, Becky. What determines a drain down job? Is it the type of job?
So you set those basically. So from the setup, you're creating, if that's what the question is referring to, so you're setting up your maintenance job types, calling them whatever you want to call them, and then in your setup, you just say when somebody wants to request a drain down or drain up, you just set the maintenance job type that you've created against it. It's not, we just in our examples, we call them drain up, drain down, but you do that setup in the background. Very simple.
Bear it, and then every time you raise it, it just goes bang, 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 bang.
Does it automatically? Yeah.
No, I see why you love it.
I love the drain down module. I love how as well you can, you know, how particularly you can go down, and I showed on the calendar, you can go down to the detail of, you know, if team are on holiday, for example, you can reduce your capacity. But then as an opposite, if you've got everybody's in and there's nothing, you know, you're just focusing on drain ups or drain downs, you can increase the number. So you can do it at day level, or you can just week commencing if you don't allow customers to book a particular day. So yeah, I love the drain down module.
Fantastic. Thank you very much to everyone that has joined us today. I know we've ran a little bit over, but there were some really important things I think we needed to talk about in there today. If you want to start implementing either of those modules, or now that you've seen the two of them in conjunction with Elite Apps, you want to go whole hog, you can of course reach out to your account managers and speak to them directly about what was coming up, what you want to do with that information as well. As we look towards February, we're nearly at the end of January, still January though. The webcast we've got up, we're going to be looking at training and recruiting in time for that big seasonal swing that we'll be expecting. So you can join us on the 12th of February at 11 AM GMT, as we're going to have a little look at Elite Academy and how that takes the pressure off your internal training for new starts, and just for those who might need a refresh to keep that training up there and that knowledge base in an excellent condition. Before we're going to welcome our partners, Excelsis, on the 26th of February to dive into how their HR solution can be used to recruit and onboard, so that you're ready for the season ahead. So please look out for your invitations over the coming weeks. Your Elite Academy one should be coming to you in the next couple of days. Thank you very much, and we will see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.